Hey guys, welcome back to the Lit Mag Lab podcast. I'm Jazz Marie, aka Vevnaforo. So previously, I was giving you a tour of some of the features and functions listed over on PubGizmo, which is royalty management software. That is aimed at helping publishers and presses, and yeah, in terms of royalty payments, it can be a lot, to tackle. So always a good idea to have some sort of software tool to keep track of all that, like payments to authors and things of that nature. And yeah, I was also doing a brief comparison against the pricing, with Familiar in that episode. And prior to that, if you missed it, I was also answering a sort of question of the day episode on listing directories and applying to them, as a founding editor and things like that. So don't forget that I have playlists out predominantly on YouTube and elsewhere where the things are sectioned off. So you can find the Q&A series, you can find different categories I've been plugging these episodes into. And yeah, you can see my screen again out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and elsewhere, so whichever platform you prefer. And yeah, if you want to see what I'm talking about on my screen, totally, video is always beneficial, I think. So yeah, let's get started today. It's going to be a spotlight episode, and I am on, as you can see, feinlit.com. That's feignlit.com. And yeah, so let's check it out. So as the usual, I'm gonna head over to Chill Subs and read off of their page here and some of the details so we can learn more about them. Also, just a reminder, there's the Chill Subs extension. For the purposes of the podcast, I just prefer to go out to the page directly and then just talk through some of the details, right, a bit further. But totally, if you're interested in that Chrome extension, I think that was episode 110. You can do a keyword search for it, yeah. So let's take a look at Feign here. Feign is an online literary magazine for fiction that publishes original work by merging and established writers every 7th and 21st of the month. Feign seeks stories that entertain, surprise, and devastate. Feign wants stories that are inventive. Some may even arrive with their cards face down. Imaginative stories, ones that hurt like nearly drawing that royal flush. Stories that make us go all in, leaving us either gutted by a lost chance or soaring with luck. They may bluff to throw us off, but ultimately, through the pretense, we see the Joker's heart. Yeah, so I like the card emphasis there, and you'll see here they're based out of Reno, Nevada. And my own lit mag, right, Dippy Lit Mag, I'm also based out of Nevada, so that's partly why I chose it. I was wondering, like, what other lit mags are out there in Nevada, so I was trying to pick one off, and just share at least one more, based in Nevada that offers payment. I my lit mag, I currently am unable to do so, but we just have like an annual contest, and I'm 15 minutes away from the Las Vegas, Nevada area. So yeah, so it looks like Feign was founded in 2024. So yeah, and so it looks like something's changed with what's unlockable or public to view, unless you're on one of the chill subs plans. I'm gonna skip over industry rankings and that stuff. The masthead will cover that on their website, but it is visible here. They do have a featured call. It looks like it's going to close very soon, right? June 30th, 2026, the Rain Prize 2026. So 1,500 to 7,500 words. Total prize is $777. Fee is $7. So yeah, sometimes again publications have contests and yeah, but it looks like they have like an always open short fiction, right? Which is 50 to 6,000 words, pays $50 per piece, no fee there. So yeah, that's pretty typical. I'd say like there are quite a few lit mags, and presses even with contests where there's like a fee for a prize, an annual prize or something, or a contest that they run, or various ones they run across the year. And then some have like always open, free windows, where they pay, it's awesome, no fee, and they pay $50 per piece. That's not bad at all. I think that's really cool that they do that. Yeah. So again, we won't be able to see some of these things here, but I do recall that Feign was on, I think, the best lit mags of 2025. on that list. And I think, if we go back to the overview section here, you can see, right, we do see, right, some ratings and reviews here, but also the trophy case. So I think that's what it would be, even though it's, blurred out here because I'm not on a plan of chill subs right now. But maybe one day I'll do that again. I had tried it briefly, but I'm really trying to be cost efficient here, with everything, especially this year, and even last year a little bit towards the end of that. But absolutely, I'd highly recommend, creating a chill subs account. There's a lot of free things accessible through chill subs. You can find lit magazine journals. They have a lot of great resources, and a lot of really cool updates they continuously do, to the UI of this database search, and meetups and virtual events too, even. So totally, do check out chill subs further. But yeah, so back to Feign. It looks like, they've had positive reviews, and, thus far, or recommendation, selections. So, hidden gem, great editors, beautiful design, bold and weird, new writer friendly. Others have voted, I just love them, a damn good read. Yeah, it looks like their type is creative, right? Vibe, send us your best but less intimidating. Again, they pay $50 per piece. There's no fee for that call as of, showing June 2026 at all. And yeah, to date, that's awesome. The acceptance rate, it looks like Chill Subs Tracker stats is community reported is showing 14.29%. Editor reported showing 9%. Response time has averaged, it looks like 82 days, and editor reported is showing 90 days. So pretty close, yeah. The acceptance rate, yeah, that's I would say a pretty tight acceptance rate, so definitely, but that shouldn't scare you at all, totally. I think there's less pressure, on you when there's no fee, and you just want to submit to a place, and there's, no money attached to the submission, right? It's less stressful for you, absolutely, because, submission fees can add up. So it's nice to come across places that are, again, offer payment and there's no fee at all. They don't do print issues, so it looks like they're solely online. Accepts previously published, yes. Nominate surprises, yes. So that's great. They've been bookmarked 194 times. They focus again on short stories, it looks like, and yeah, you can see on my screen. Um, they have, you know, yeah, their AI policy is here listed. Formatting, is here, right? And cover letter details on chill subs and all that. Nominates for awards. It looks like Pushcart Best of the Net. And yeah, so that's great. Yeah. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums up what's on chill subs. They do have, again, examples that you can, read before you submit. And yeah, we'll get to their website a little bit here. And let's just head over to Duotrope real quick. So again, Duotrope is another place where you can find listings for literary magazines and, journals, presses. Again, pretty much the same information here, right? Online literary magazine for fiction operates out of Reno, Nevada, inspired by the city's gambling roots, right? Feign seeks fiction that takes risks, right? Yeah, same thing that was in the about section, basically, of show subs, right? Looks like it's saying published 24 times per year, electronic publication, right? Again, human created work only, no AI use. And yeah. So yeah, there again it's saying more challenging. So Fane's oral acceptance rate is lower than most magazines. And yeah, regular speed, response time for normal range of magazines. Yeah. And yeah, so again, we see the guidelines basically reiterated on duotrope, right? The genre, the length, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. And we can see the Rain Prize for Excellence in Fiction is linked out here, right? And yeah, awarded once per year. So yeah, again, Duotrope is another great place to, cross-reference things between listings. It's more so on the founding editors to update what's on chill subs, but of course, others can leave, ratings and reviews, right, on chill subs. So yeah, let's head over to their website and check it out here. And yeah, so it looks like on their landing page here they have featured pieces, and yeah, let's just click on one of these to see what it looks like. I'm gonna click on the one titled "Give It Away to Keep It" by Allegra Armstrong. So I'm just seeing the formatting style of their website here for you guys to just scrolling through, and then we'll go all the way to the bottom. Of course, it's a short story, so it's going to be a bit of a scroll here, but I'm just checking for something here for you guys. So yeah, they do have the date in the bottom right hand corner here. Always a good idea for publications, I think, to have the timestamp of a piece, right? So this one was recent, right? June 21st, 2026. Then, there's a arrow over right in the site where you can go to, right? The author bio, right, to learn more about them. So that's cool. And then it goes to, looks like the next piece. And yeah, so that's the format they have, the piece and then the story. And then you can go to the bio, right? That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, everything's pretty organized. Absolutely. They have, right, mailing list, right? And yeah, receive updates on new publications released sent every 7th and 21st of the month. So that's great that they have a regular schedule so others can always look forward to pieces on those times. Every place is a little bit different, some places, post a couple pieces every week. Some places just post, maybe two times, of the month, and yeah, or three times or four, however, a schedule that's manageable for the publication. As I was mentioning, again in just in episode 124, about consistency and schedules, and something that works for you, when you're running your Lit Journal Press. And so it looks like they break issues out into decks, I believe. That's neat. I love the whole card focus. Personally, I suck at card tricks, guys. I once bought a deck of cards, when I was very young, like a magic trick set, and I tried doing a trick in front of my classmates, and it was an epic fail, but it was fun. The whole pick. Is this your is this your card? Is this your card? It was so sad, guys. I couldn't do that trip. Is this your card? Is this your card? I didn't have much practice or preparation in advance. So, anyways, it's no big deal. But I love magician movies and anything that involves cards. I'm not huge on gambling per se, or casinos, myself, or anything like that. But I do love, um, I have seen my fair share of, casino movies and, things like that for sure. But more so, I would say I'm someone who likes magic trick and card movies and stuff of that nature. Probably one of my all time favorite movies that involves cards and tricks and magic would probably be, I think I mentioned this somewhere. Now You See It, 2005, the Disney movie, that one from 2005. I'm not a huge fan of the Now You See Me, movies and stuff, those recent ones. Not a huge fan of those. I really watched the Now You See It movie quite a few times, over the years, that Disney one. There's just something about it that I really loved. And the song was really catchy too, I think. Yeah, the music. Um, Another character I think I really liked, I think, is from X-Men, right? Gambit is pretty cool. Um, not the most recent, I think, uh, appearance of Gambit though, but probably like from the animated version and comics, and one of the earlier appearances of him too. Anyways, yeah, so I've definitely tried to do card tricks and stuff, but I'm not much of a person that's into gambling or anything like that. But I really love how they have it themed here, like decks and stuff. That's really cool. So let's click on one of these decks here. Let's try deck 12. I think this means it's the most recent publications, right? So they have the names here. Yeah, let's scroll down. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so they have names here, and this looks like the most recent deck on publications. So this is clubs, right? Diamonds, spades, and hearts. Yeah. So that's cool. I like how everything is interconnected like that, with the sort of theme of cards and decks, right? I like that. And the inspiration there, with the layout. That's pretty creative and cool. Yeah. So yeah, so then it takes you out to the piece. I think that's really nice. Yeah, so when you click on the clubs, right, or the diamond, spade, or hearts, right, it takes you to that piece. and that's a fun format for sure. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much it, for that and the layout. So they have, let's see what deck one looks like and just see. So yeah, that's cool that I'm just clicking in to see, the format across the board. So yeah, that's really fun that they do that. I think that's cool. This site, it looks like, I think it was designed with Squarespace, right? So yeah, I tend to, try to give you guys, insight on like website building and stuff. There was an episode, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's one of the uh, Q&A episodes on the series where I was covering website builders and giving my thoughts on different ones. So overall, FaneLit has a very organized, clean format, and it looks like they also do interviews sometimes too. So that's nice. They do interviews with different writers, I believe, and yeah, that's pretty common. Lit mags and journals doing interviews with writers or others, and interviews are a lot of fun. So they have some past ones here, and yeah. So yeah, it looks like they've interviewed some, who have worked at UNLV and things of that nature, and writers, and yeah. So that's really cool. So let's check out the masthead here, and then we'll go back to general submissions. I'm doing things kind of out of order a little bit. Yeah, but so we have Kylie Michelle Westerlin Ryback, founder and editor, and then there's Jake Solist and the editor. So yeah, and then what else do we have here? So we'll go to general submissions now. I basically read briefly some of the guidelines on chill subs. So again, just a reminder here, Feign accepts fiction only up to 6,000 words long. Beginning in 2026, Feign is pleased to announce payment of $50 per story delivered upon publication. Yeah, it says, so please have your work formatted with double spacing and in a 12-point font, Times New Roman preferred. So that's cool. Yeah, cover letters are welcome but are not mandatory. If you choose to provide a cover letter, they suggest that you copy and paste it into the form. Hitting the return key may push the form prematurely. You can always reach out to them via email with any issues about your submission using the subject line submission update. Simultaneous submissions are accepted, but do let them know immediately if the work you submitted to them is accepted elsewhere, and you can email them to withdraw. Response times will vary between 1 to 3 months at this time. After 12 weeks, please don't hesitate to inquire about the status of your submission by emailing them with the subject line status update, a note on their policy for artificial intelligence. So again, um, so yeah, again, they want work that is unaided, by artificial intelligence, right? So original work, human created work only. And yeah, so they have a note on their policy for artificial intelligence. I again highly recommend, all lit mags to have some sort of AI policy on their website, because it is something that, is we're all dealing with in the writing community, right? I again am someone for traditional art and writing from scratch, and I really believe in that. But it's you just want to be mindful about that. Some lit magazine journals have agreement check boxes or have writers sign things. Some just have their policy, typed out. At a minimum, I highly recommend, right, having a policy like this typed out, even if it's just like one line: human created work only, no AI allowed. Something visible. So yeah. So I'll just read this off for you guys. While Feign seeks risky fiction that subverts expectations, whether through form or content, they expect writers to submit original work that is unaided by artificial intelligence. They would also like it to be known that all work is read solely by the editors and not screened with the aid of artificial intelligence. To identify others' use of artificial intelligence, they ask that you respect their time, policies, and guidelines by trusting your writerly instincts and work to hone your craft through your unique human spirit and way of seeing the world. They ask that you bet on your humanness and you may just win the jackpot. Yeah, so I really like that they emphasize that in the wording of it. Totally important, we all have a different way of seeing things, in the world and stuff. And think about it this way, using AI, it's just stuff that's it's training off of other writers and artists' work, right? It's not right. To me, that is unethical and it's really heartbreaking, So it's yeah, I definitely wholeheartedly believe in traditional art, art was always a large part of my life, and writing, it's something that has to come from, your heart and mind. It doesn't make sense to really, do prompt thingamabobs and all kinds of stuff like that. That's just basically, stitching together other things that already exist. It has to come from you, your own original work. I think that's so, so important. My family and I don't see eye to eye on, this topic at all, unfortunately, but I truly believe in, human creative work from scratch. And it's yeah, I think it's going to be, again, it's a challenging thing for a lot of lit magazine journals, but at a minimum, if you, are, need an AI policy typed out, it doesn't have to be super long. It can be bite sized like this. It doesn't have to be several paragraphs long or anything like that. Just somewhere that's visible on the website. So that's great that they have that. Now, Feign Lit, they have a submission intake form, right on embedded into their site. And yeah, so obviously on this podcast, I've covered, different submission methods, different submission management systems, right, that others use. My lit mags on Subfolio right now, we used to be right on Submittable, right? And there's nothing wrong with embedded forms like this. It's a great way to, minimize cost. Submission man systems, right? They have a bill, but Savolio has like a low plan of $10, and then there's like, it can be $29 with the CLMP discount. Even without the discount, it's still not too bad. There are a lot of really low cost submission management systems, but the thing I really love about like Subfolio and some of the other ones out there, not all, but like, with Safoli, you can do like manage payments within the submission management system off to authors. Let's say if an annual contest or something, and you can you don't have to like go outside and juggle all that, the payments and stuff. It can be centralized. And I really love tagging an organization more than anything. And true, you could, tag things in email and stuff of that nature, but it's not that efficient, right? But yeah, so anyways, every lit mag's a little bit different in terms of like intake forms and stuff like that. So do check out those podcast episodes where I discuss, there's a playlist of mission man systems, and go over even some form builders, right? Tally forms is something others use too. A lot of great options out there, and low cost alternatives. But absolutely, a lot of lit mags have done fine just leveraging email, for years, decades even. It's not like, you'll be having issues with just using email, but it can be, sometimes like hard to remember and keep track of things and handle some things with email. Absolutely, and yeah, anyways, so yeah, they have first name, last name, email required, sign up for news and updates, cover letter, right? How did you hear about Feign? The file upload, and yeah. So Feign accepts fiction only. Submissions may be up to 6,000 words long. Please have your work formatted with double spacing and in 12-point font, Times New Roman preferred. Accepted formats are PDF or Word documents. So yeah, that's great. It's simple and it's organized. There are a couple different lit mags I've shared on this podcast that have forms like this, and yeah, you just want to be careful, right? I think they said a reminder to be careful about hitting return because the form can just submit, that way too. And yeah, and looks like they have a quote here from Albert Camus, right? Fiction is the lie through which we tell the truth. So yeah, that is cool. Yeah. So yeah, short stories, guys. So in general, myself, it's been a while since I've written a short story, but I have, now and then like tidbits of short stories I've put together and stuff like that. More so, I think the past few years I've focused more so predominantly on poetry, but absolutely, there are a lot of really cool magazines and journals out there focusing on short stories, flash fiction, even, and I covered a couple on this podcast that, more sort of geared towards long form fiction. Absolutely, too. Another one that comes to my mind was it Chatterbox? A lot of great ones out there like Feign. Absolutely. They have Submit to the Rain Prize. I think I mentioned this earlier when I was showing you chill subs. But yeah, so totally, a lot of lit mags again create, some sort of annual contest or prize. And yeah, and not all art have fees, but some do, and typically those fees are used to, put towards the grand prize, right? And absolutely. So it looks like the Rain Prize 2026 Excellence in Fiction seeks short story submissions up to 7,500 words. Submission window opens May 1st and closes June 30th at 11:45 p.m. PST. So yeah, it's closing, soon here. Today's the 26th when I'm doing this episode. And yeah, so it looks like $7 to enter this, and the grand prize is $777. So 777 there, yeah. All sevens, right? That's interesting. $100 to second place with online publication. Finalists may be recognized online. They have a guest judge. It looks like John Calvin Hughes, who has been published in numerous magazines and journals. Yeah, so absolutely, some lit mags, journals, they have guest judges, and that's a lot of fun too. There are sometimes guest editors for issues and things of that nature. And yeah, I think it's nice that they even put a little quote from what the judge is looking for, right? I'm quoting this from, I think, right, so I'm quoting this, John Calvin Hughes, right? Says, always on the lookout for a story with vivid characters, folks that stand up off the page, ones whose voices are an amped up version of real talk. He likes to see them caught off guard by the events in the story and watch them deal or not with whatever slaps them in the face. He likes a story that takes its sentences seriously, like little pieces of art. Finally, he says he wants a story that tells him something he hasn't, heard before, not wisdom necessary, but spectacle. Yeah. So they have a place to submit to that, right? And yeah, so it takes you to this page with reminders and enter your reign, and yeah, so that's cool. And it looks like they're using a jot form for this. So yeah, jot form is one I covered on this podcast, and yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. So jot form, I've seen a couple places use tally form. I think I prefer over jot form, but the nice thing about jot form that I'd seen, I remember they had like a PayPal integration thing of that nature, So yeah, when I started my lit mag, right, Dippity, I first used Google Forms, and then, I shared on this podcast. I went through the CMP membership, got the submittable discount, ended up leaving submittable and moving to Subfolio. And yeah, I think Subfolio is great, but absolutely there are various form builders, right? Like Jot Form, right? Like this you see on my screen, and other ones I covered on this podcast. I think it was right, Tally, as I mentioned earlier, right? There's fill out forms, and yeah, Google Forms is pretty limited. Jot Forms has some limitations, I think, but they had a cool, if I recall, payment integration, I think, with PayPal. But yeah, anyways, if you're interested in some of the other ones, right? I think I covered that in episode 56, in terms of submission management systems and form builders and discussing those. And I have a breakdown of those in my guidebook and also in an article. I typed out like a review of all the ones I'm aware of to date. There are probably others out there, but those are just like the primary ones I know. Quite a few in the community use, in my list of submission management systems. So yeah, they have required fields here, right? The entry fee, right? So yeah, drop form can do that totally. So it's not bad at all. But I think I like tally forms, and I would say I was poking around it a little bit further. But yeah, and Subfolio I think is my favorite submission management system to date. I prefer Subfolio over intake forms, like Jot Form, and Google Forms Tally, but yeah, it all depends, and yeah, so yeah, so this is through Jot Forms. They have this powered by, so yeah, totally. So yeah, totally. I would recommend, listening back to episode 56, where I was sharing my screen, covering, submission management systems. And there were a couple other episodes where I talked about, submission management systems and did individual episodes on them too, some of the ones discussed in that number 56. So if you're interested, totally check that out. So yeah, they have reminders here, some required fields, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, final judging determined by John Calvin Hughes, assisted by Kylie Ryback and Jake Solist. And yeah, so yeah, this is gonna close out soon here. So but yeah, I just wanted to give an yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you guys, Feign lit. But regardless of that, closing, soon, they have general submissions, which are, looks like always open. I think we saw that on Chill Subs, right? For their calls, right? Let's double check here. So yeah, always open, right? So they have that, for general submissions. Great. Sometimes Litmags change that over time, their windows and stuff, but that's great that it's always open. And yeah. Um so yeah, again they nominate for best of the net. And yeah, they include some nominees, right? They're listed on Chill Subs, listed at Duotrope. And yeah, so that's cool, yeah. Yeah, so overall, very clean website design, very organized. I personally prefer websites that have a search, or a search magnifying glass or something, But everything's easy to find on their website, absolutely. The guidelines are clear and everything. And yeah, I think it's always a good idea to mention when there's like fees with prizes and things, right? That, the fee is non refundable or, or something like that. But um, yeah, and I'm not sure when they announced the winner of this, the Rain Prize, or after the window closes either. Yeah, um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. They have interviews, they have general submissions, they have a featured section, so that's really cool. And yeah, I like the theme of the deck of cards again. I think that's really unique and fun. So yeah, so I'm gonna take some time sometimes to go through and read this. There are a couple other lit mags and journals out there that I'm aware of that are based out of Nevada. So I wanted to cover one more than my own on this series. Again, my lit mags based out of like Henderson, right near Las Vegas, Nevada. And yeah, so I think it's really awesome what Feign Lit is doing. I am a fan of short stories, but it's been a while since I've written any short stories myself. I have a ton of like short stories sitting though from years way back. I shared quite a few of my high school short stories from way back, and some people actually rated them, and I was like laughing, guys. I was like, oh gosh, you actually read it, but it's cool. It's been a while since I've written some for sure. Dippity does accept, my lit mag does accept, flash fiction and, shorts, absolutely. I love short stories. They're a lot of fun, fiction, short stories. And yeah, I definitely love seeing, the, the, and yeah, so what was the last short story I wrote? Was it? Oh yeah, the last short story I wrote, I think I shared on this podcast somewhere, was called Pompeii Pigeon. And I did technically share that through Dippity, when we first started, and and some friends actually enjoyed it. They thought it was fun, and who knows, I might continue it. I'm thinking about posting that in a digital version of it very soon, actually, for because others were like, you should continue that. So yeah, it was about basically a poet, right? A writer who has feelings for the bakery owner. And she doesn't really know, and then she's like about to get married, and he gets really jealous, right? Basically. So and then it goes from there, but like the bakery owner lets him perform and do like his poetry there and stuff, basically, or supportive of him in his like writing and journey and stuff, and other things happen. Anyways, if I finish it, it was like it started off as a short story, but it's more of like a episodic series, right, of tidbits of one long story. And yeah, so yeah, absolutely. I always had a lot of fun writing short stories, for like school assignments and stuff. And yeah, totally. I have, over the years shared some of my short stories, in some writing platforms and stuff for fun. I did that more so back in my high school days and stuff. But I'm gonna try and challenge myself and try to write more short stories for sure. I've been mostly just screening and reading short stories submitted, myself, with my own lit mag. But I feel like I should dip my toes back into writing more short stories for sure. I've been more so writing poetry personally, guys. But anyways, I love what Feign Lit has done. And yeah, so I try to give movie recs for sure on some of the episodes or something that maybe a lit mag or journal reminds me of, or a memory or something, just sharing for fun. Yeah, so I moved out here, right, 2018 July. I think for some reason, again, because I have physical pain, sometimes I have a slip of years, right, like a year behind or a year ahead. So I had some brain fog on those episodes a little bit because I was going through some pain. But so yeah, and I think I accidentally said 2017 when I was like, what? And then, like, unless you knew me personally, you probably didn't catch it. But yeah, so I've been here about 8 years. Yeah, in near Las Vegas, Nevada. And yeah, so I love, checking out other lit magazine journals based out in Nevada. I haven't covered a bunch on this podcast on it, but I have checked out quite a few. There are some affiliated, right, with universities and stuff, in the southern part of the US and stuff that I've been looking at, around neighboring Nevada too, and within Nevada. And I was looking at some of the literary magazines, on the Nevada Arts Council right here, if you're looking for more that are based on Nevada. Obviously, we're not listed on this, nor is Feign Lit, but yeah. Um, these are ones I believe, right, that are affiliated with colleges, right, and universities. So, Witness Magazine, The Meadow, Tahoe Quarterlies, here Nevada Review, Red Rock Review, Nevada Magazine, Interim. So yeah, the Lit Mag I run is not affiliated, with any university or college or anything like that, nor is Feign. And so there's some other lit mags out there, based in Nevada for sure, but yeah, these are, the Nevada Arts Council has ones listed here with, affiliated with colleges and universities, so check these out too. There are a lot of really cool magazines, based out of Nevada, and literary magazines and journals for sure. More than what's listed here, but these again are ones that are affiliated, with colleges and universities. So definitely check it out. So I'll drop links again to anything I mentioned in the description. And yeah, so do check out Feign Lit. They have awesome, general submission call. Looks like the Rain Prize is going to close up very soon here, so you might not have time to submit to that, as I'm covering this podcast episode or anything like that. But very cool, that Feign Lit, pays like $50 per piece, for general submissions. And they have that very cool, looks like annual Rain Prize, right? And yeah, so definitely check out, if you're someone who loves short stories, if you love fiction, absolutely, this is definitely the place for you. I would say it looks very cool, what they're doing. So I have to take some time to read more of the work on their website. And absolutely, I will stop over and read some more pieces when I get a chance. And they do have a note here that I'll just mention real quick. For the best reading experience, desktop viewing is recommended. Yeah. Even with, like, not just short stories, but writing in general, right? When you're reading on a mobile device, the formatting and stuff, it gets kind of wonky. So desktop viewing is obviously preferred. If you have a tablet, maybe it doesn't impact you as much. But yeah, so visual poetry, or, Feign Lit doesn't do poetry, but not to say they couldn't one day if they wanted to. Some lit mags and journals branch out into other things, other genres and things of that nature over time, but not always. So yeah, I think again it's really nice that Feign Lit has, a dedicated publishing schedule every 7th and 21st of the month. And yeah, so overall, yeah, I really like the vibe they have with the deck of cards and all of that. So take care, guys. Be sure to check out Feign Lit if you are someone who likes writing, short stories, fiction. Yeah, then head on over and check out their call. And who knows, they may have other things over time. Sometimes lit mags add other calls, other contests and things of that nature. And yeah, Feign Lit, no doubt, is a very cool online literary magazine based in Nevada. I just want to take the time to share it with you guys, and yeah, so Next up, we'll probably, since I was mentioning pigeons, the next episode, hint, hint, we may cover something dealing with pigeons or something. We're like, what? So, yeah, and I might do some updates on some other lit mags and journals real quick that statuses changes and stuff that I want to mention. So, anyways, take care, guys, and bye, yeah. And yeah, I found that sub club chill subs list, right? So the community voted award for indie lit best lit mags of 2025. So if we do a quick search here for Feign, yeah, it is on list number 9. It was on that one. So yeah, that's awesome that chill subs has these annual awards and list, yeah, community favorites and picks. So yeah, I just was trying to recall where that was because I think I talked about it, but it wasn't showing on my screen. And yeah, so anyways, that's all. Oh, P.S. guys. So in terms of, I've seen about other movies like movie recs. So one of my favorite movies in existence in terms of magic, I think more so than Now You See It from 2005, would be The Prestige and also The Illusionist. I like those two movies. The Prestige, I would say more so than The Illusionist. And I think those both came out actually in 2006. The Prestige, yeah, and yeah, and The Illusionist 2006. So check those out sometime. I was trying to think of anything else in terms of decks of cards, right, and stuff. For fun, just tacking on some memories and thoughts, yeah, that lit mags and journals make me think of. So yeah, card games. Yeah, I grew up playing all kinds of card games, right? Go Fish and uh, not really a casino like card game at all, but Uno. Everyone knows Uno. I used to play Uno quite a bit with my mom growing up and stuff. And I mentioned on this podcast, various games and stuff too with my fam. We might cover in the future, near future here, some fun game lit mags and journals. I do have a list of those in my link in bio, and yeah, if you go lit mag list section, yeah, yeah. Oh, another card game, guys, was cribbage. I don't know if you've ever played cribbage, but I was at Girls in Engineering Science summer camp, for a couple of weeks, and it was at Oxford College and back in Minnesota, and they had us, learn cribbage. It was kind of fun, in our downtime and stuff. And it was actually a really fun game, cribbage. I haven't played it in quite some time, but if you've never played it, try it sometime. And yeah, there were other movies I watched over the years, on like movies, based on true stories of things that happened in casinos and stuff. Trying to remember any other ones, the 2008 movie 21, but that was a movie I remember seeing, tied to Las Vegas casinos and stuff. And yeah, and there were several other ones. There was a memorable episode of one of my favorite TV shows that I saw growing up, Monk. The TV detective Adrian Monk. There was a casino episode that was really funny too. Not super funny, but there were, of course, it's a detective crime scene, so it's sad. Always solving, typically what happened to someone, right, and stuff like that. So, but no doubt there were some comical moments across that, Monk series, right? I used to see it on way back on USA Network and stuff. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, not much of a person who's into gambling and stuff like that, but absolutely I do really love the format and style of Feign Lit Mag, and it's a lot of fun. I really like how they have everything laid out. So it's no doubt a really nice layout, very clean and organized. And yeah, it looks like they do additional interviews even. And yeah, I really love the deck setup that they have here. That's really cool. And now I might have to go find a deck of cards, guys, and try picking up my magic tricks again. I'm just joking. No way, no way. I think it's fun though. Card tricks and stuff for sure. And decks of cards. Very, very cool. Yeah. So yeah, please do read more of Feign Lit and check it out. And yeah, general submissions looks like that's always open, so you guys can take a look at that. I don't know what the window is typically for the rain prize, like if it's always May 1st to June 30th, if it's always like that, every year. That's what wasn't entirely clear to me, but could be. Yeah, anyways, that's really cool that they have that. And yeah, so take care, guys, and signing off now. Yeah, bye. Yeah.